Welcome to my channel English Stories Hub. Jake Miller learned the rhythm of New York long before he learned how to trust it. The city breathed loud sirens laughing at midnight, taxi horns arguing at dawn, and the subway rumbling beneath it all like a restless heartbeat. Jake lived in a shoebox apartment in Brooklyn, the kind where the radiator hissed like it was angry at life. He was 29, broke in spirit if not entirely in wallet, and carrying grief like a second coat he couldn't take off. Every morning, Jake rode the subway to his job at a small print shop near Times Square. He printed flyers for Broadway shows he could never afford to see. Life had once promised him more. He used to dream of being a writer, sitting in cafes, tapping away while the city applauded him. Now the applause was just the subway doors slamming shut. On this particular Tuesday, rain soaked the sidewalks and soaked Jake's mood right along with it. He descended into the subway, shaking water from his jacket. A street musician played an off-key tune nearby, smiling like he owned the world. Jake snorted quietly. Ha ha ha. Some people just had that kind of courage. The train arrived with a roar, and Jake squeezed inside. He found his usual spot near the pole, staring at an old subway map peeling at the edges. Somewhere between Canal Street and Forgotten Dreams, his phone buzzed. A text from his sister, Emily. Mom's birthday today. Call if you can. Jake swallowed. His mother's voice lived in his memory now, soft and encouraging, telling him he'd be fine in the big city. Cancer hadn't agreed. The ache returned heavy and sudden, and he blinked hard, pretending the rattling train was the reason his eyes watered. At the next stop, an old man entered, thin as a question mark, wearing a long brown coat despite the heat underground. He clutched a leather notebook to his chest, like it might run away. The man's eyes met Jake's, and for a strange moment, the noise of the subway faded. You're looking for something, the man said. Jake frowned. A seat? He joked weakly. The man smiled. Oh, the kind of smile that carried too many years. No, something you lost. Before Jake could reply, the train lurched and the lights flickered. People groaned. Someone laughed nervously. When the lights came back, the old man was gone. In his place, on the seat beside Jake, sat the leather notebook. Jake stared at it, heart thudding. He looked around, expecting the man to reappear, but the doors closed and the train moved on. Curiosity beat common sense. Jake picked up the notebook. Inside were handwritten entries, stories about New York from decades past. Love stories, heartbreaks, miracles hidden between subway stops. One page was marked with today's date. Jake read the first line and felt a chill crawl up his spine. This story belongs to you, Jake Miller. His breath caught. Weeping threatened, not loud, just quiet, the kind that sneaks up on you. The city outside blurred as the subway rushed forward, and for the first time in years, Jake felt like New York was whispering directly to him. But Jake had no idea that opening that notebook had already set something in motion. Something that would change every underground ride forever. Jake didn't notice missing his stop until the train screeched to a halt at the end of the line. The notebook rested on his lap like it belonged there, heavy with secrets. The station was nearly empty, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. He stood slowly, heart still racing, and stepped onto the platform. He flipped through more pages. Each story felt alive. One was about a woman who found love after losing everything. Another described a boy who escaped the city only to realize it lived inside him forever. Jake laughed softly, ha ha ha, shaking his head. It was like the notebook knew him. At the back of the book was a subway map, hand-drawn with one station circled in red. No name, just a symbol that looked like a key. Against his better judgment, Jake waited for the next train and rode back, transferring lines until he reached the circled stop. The station was older than the others, tires cracked, walls stained with time. A sign flickered, letters half missing. The place felt forgotten. As Jake stepped off the train, the air changed, quieter. He followed the corridor until he found a door marked Employees Only. It creaked open with a sound like a long sigh. Inside was a small room filled with photographs, hundreds of them. People laughing, crying, hugging on subway platforms. Jake recognized some faces from the notebook stories. His chest tightened. You came, a voice said. The old man stood in the corner, smiling gently. I wondered how long it would take. What is this? Jake demanded, fear and wonder tangled together. This is where New York keeps its stories, the man replied. And you, Jake, hear them. Jake shook his head. I'm just a guy who prints posters. The old man chuckled. Ha ha ha, you're a man who listens, that's rare. He explained how the city chose certain people to carry its stories forward, to remind others they weren't alone. The notebook wasn't magic, not exactly. It was memory. It was pain turned into purpose. Jake thought of his mother, of all the words he never wrote. His throat burned. Why me? Because you're still broken, the man said softly. And broken things let the light through. Tears slipped down Jake's face. Not ashamed, not hidden, just real. He nodded. The old man placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. The city will test you. It always does. Suddenly, footsteps echoed. Voices. The room faded. The photographs dissolving like mist. Jake stumbled backward, landing hard on the platform floor as commuters rushed past him. The notebook was gone. For a moment, Jake wondered if he'd imagined it all. Then he felt something in his pocket, a single photograph. His mother, smiling on a subway bench, younger than he remembered. Jake laughed through tears, awe, clutching the photo to his chest. But what Jake didn't know was that the city had only just begun telling him its secrets. Jake returned to his normal routine, but nothing felt normal anymore. The subway felt louder, closer, like it leaned in when he walked by. Faces stood out, emotions hummed beneath the surface. He started noticing things. Tiny moments others missed. A couple holding hands before separating forever. A kid practicing jokes until one finally landed, ha ha ha, earning a stranger's smile. At the print shop, Jake began writing during breaks. Short stories inspired by what he saw underground. He posted them online, anonymously at first. People shared them, commented, said they cried reading them on their commute. Jake sat back in his chair one night, stunned, heart full and aching all at once. One evening, as he rode home late, the train stopped abruptly between stations. Lights dimmed. Groans filled the car. Jake felt it again, that quiet shift. A woman across from him began to sob, silent at first, then shaking. No one moved. Jake did. He sat beside her, didn't speak right away, just presence. She told him she'd lost her brother that morning. Jake listened, tears falling freely now, his own grief answering hers. When the train finally moved, she hugged him, whispering thank you like it meant everything. Jake understood then. This was it. This was the work. Weeks passed. His stories went viral. A publisher reached out. Emily called, laughing and crying at the same time. Telling him mom would be proud. Jake visited her grave with the photograph and read her one of his stories out loud. The wind answered softly. Late one night, Jake spotted the old man again, standing across the platform. You're doing well, the man said. Jake smiled. I think so. The city won't need me much longer, the man said. Soon it will be your turn to choose the next listener. Jake's smile faded. I'm not ready. The man laughed. Ha ha ha. None of us ever are. The train arrived. The old man stepped inside, tipped his hat, and vanished as the doors closed. Jake stood there, heart heavy but steady. And just like that, Jake realized the greatest story of New York was still being written, and he was holding the pen. Years later, Jake Miller's name was known far beyond New York. His books sat in subway kiosks, airports, nightstands across America. People said his stories felt alive, like the city itself was speaking. Jake still rode the subway every day. Fame hadn't changed that. One rainy morning, he noticed a teenage girl clutching a notebook, eyes wide with fear and hope. She looked lost. Jake smiled, gentle and knowing. You're looking for something, he said. Her eyes widened. The city rumbled beneath them, laughing, crying, breathing on. And the subway sequence continued, waiting for the next heart brave enough to listen. Moral of the story is, every person carries unseen pain, and listening with an open heart can turn that pain into healing. True purpose often rises from loss, teaching us that broken moments can still create something meaningful. When we share our stories with honesty, we remind others and ourselves that no one walks alone. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel, like and comment my video. Bye guys.